Although the garage sale was supposed to start only on Friday and last until Saturday at the most, if you suddenly thought your junk was so valuable, they helped me prepare for it on Wednesday evening. Together with Katie, my mom, and Beth, my older sister, we worked late that day, and then we worked all Thursday like bees. As a result, by 8 a.m. on Friday, we had a lot of boxes with things that we had pre-evaluated and ready for sale. My heart was heavy when I picked up, examined, and stroked those things that once meant so much to both of us. And now some stranger will take them away and take away the pieces of our memory in his hands. Perhaps one of the neighbors will buy something from the moments of a past, happy life in this house. Room after room became eerily quiet as things were taken out of them. The echo, which had been hiding in the corners for many years, has now returned and settled into the house like a master. The master bedroom was the hardest part. The skirt I bought for her back in Maui. To hell with it, for sale. 2 pairs of funny, identical sandals that we stomped on the beach in that vacation. They are no longer needed. Her blouses, trousers, skirts, and all those endless shoes in different styles and colors. I'm really wondering if we can sell all of this. Mom said that you should start with $10 per pair, although I'm sure that each pair probably costs much more. Yes, what my wife really knew very well was how to masterfully handle a credit card. Almost everything I picked up evoked pleasant memories. Several times I had to turn my head away to imperceptibly wipe away a tear. Maybe my memories will fade over time, but so far this has not happened. It seemed that the contents of every drawer that I opened cut my heart alive. From time to time, my mother would shoo me into the kitchen, telling me to have a snack and take a break. He and Beth had taken this case on their shoulders, and even my broken heart couldn't stop them from completing their mission. Sitting in the kitchen didn't help me in any way. My new apartment was small, and I wouldn't need all these pots, pans, and plates there. By the time we decided we were ready to start, the garage was littered with boxes from floor to ceiling. The plan was for Hank, my father, and his buddies to change into a formal-looking law enforcement uniform. All of it was bought at a store for Halloween celebrations. My father and his friends had permits to carry weapons, and they planned to parade during the crush in full dress. At the same time, a rumor was spread that those who were looking for a 5-finger discount would rather try their luck somewhere else than try to apply their skills at our sale. Mom said that she would take care of the cash proceeds received for the items sold. On Friday, I was outside before dawn, setting up tables and tents. Fortunately, according to the weather forecast, the wind was quite weak, and precipitation was not expected during the day. Interestingly, even at this early hour, some potential buyers were already passing by, asking if we had opened. At garage sales like ours, there are always early risers who want to find great things at mindlessly low prices. Beth showed up around 7 in the morning with fresh donuts. Soon after, Mom and Dad showed up. While the women were fussing, the men began to take the furniture out of the house. With each item that we took out of the house, the crowd that quickly gathered in our yard grew in size right before our eyes. It was amazing to see so many people for the early morning. Mom volunteered to deal with the incoming cash, and I was glad that we thought ahead and took a large package with disposable bags for customers where they could put their purchases. Beth enjoyed talking and working with the arriving crowd, and she came up with all sorts of funny nonsense whenever someone asked a question. The sister casually told them everything about things that they themselves would like to hear. One of Dad's buddies was keeping an eye on the locked display case, which contained all our, mostly hers, jewelry and valuable antiques. Even some of my duplicate keys were under lock and key. In fact, I didn't even know if this Dad's friend knew about jewelry, but these small, neat, but very sneaky old ladies, who were always hanging around the window, were just delighted with them. It was already crowded on the street, as 2 of our closest neighbors took advantage of the crowd and also put out some of their belongings. We did not fail to exchange pleasantries with them. Darcy, Deanna's closest friend on our block, showed up shortly before 8 a.m. "Chat, what's going on?" "What is it?" she demanded. "Good morning, Darcy. It's actually called a garage sale." I grinned, waving my hand around our yard. "I know what it is, asshole," she snapped. "Deanna told me that you guys would just be selling some stuff." "In here?" "Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Look, it's not even 8 in the morning, and we've already sold some good things," I boasted. But she didn't say anything about furniture. Darcy said, frowning and looking around. I think she just didn't want you to find out about it. Ah, I'm sorry, Darcy. I'd love to spend time chatting with you, but I have a job to do. Happy shopping. I flashed a white-toothed smile in front of her suspiciously scowling face. Darcy looked pretty pissed off that I had gotten rid of her rather casually. He and Diane always liked to think that they were in control of all decisions. So I wasn't surprised at all when my phone rang a few minutes later. Hey Diana, hi. Sorry, I can't talk for long. I'm very busy with the garage sale, you know. There's an invasion here, but thank God we're doing fine without you. Chad, Darcy said that your entire front yard and driveway are littered with clothes and furniture. My beloved's voice sounded clearly angry on the phone. What can I say? You have to get up early to get past Darcy. Yes, events are developing here, and very quickly. Well, that's it. It was nice chatting with you. Don't you dare turn off. Diana's hysterical scream was drowned out as soon as I pressed the magic button and ended the conversation. Well, anyway, it was just her first call. I'll let the next one switch to voicemail. And the next one. And then the next one. Well, you get the big picture. Oh, stop. Paintings. How could I forget about them? I went back into the house, walked through the rooms, and took pictures of them all from the walls. Hell, the frames alone cost 10 times more than I asked for. When I reappeared in the yard, my mother informed me that Diana had managed to call her, but she ignored the call. Mom handed me an envelope with $500, and it was only 8:15 on the clock. Wow, not bad at all. Looking around, I realized that despite the crowd of potential buyers, our Egyptian pyramids of things had hardly decreased. Every time there was room on the table, Beth immediately emptied another box. By this time, there was a real zoo on the road in front of our house. Someone was trying to back-park their pickup truck next to our driveway to load a chest of drawers. Meanwhile, another envelope with $500 was transferred from my mother to me. Her eyes burned with such an unquenchable fire, as if she was going to take away 10 pairs, or even all 20 for a couple $100. And I was also worried about how these slightly worn Louboutins would sell. Man shrugging. Then Diana called again, and I decided it was time to pinch her cheeks again. Hello. I purred. Don't you dare hollock me, asshole. Darcy said you're selling MY clothes and shoes. Your friend is very observant. You shouldn't have touched my stuff. She screamed. I'm sorry. I swear, you said it yourself. Get rid of ugly things. That's how I do it. Remember, you even wrote it down? I was talking about your sweaters. The ones that you think are cute, but in fact they are completely creepy. Maybe you should have been more specific. Wait, I'll read it right now. Here it is written in your handwriting. Get rid of ugly clothes. So I want to please you. Your wedding dress has been sold. You know you look pregnant in it, so I've already gotten rid of it. Isn't it cool? Damn you, Chad. What the hell is wrong with you? Deanna growled like a hungry tiger in a cage. Just following your instructions. By the way, most of your jeans are gone too. I remember you always thought they made your ass look fat. Why are you treating me like this? There was a whiny note in her voice. This is a rhetorical question, right? Oh, honey, I have to go, I said cheerfully, noticing something in the yard. The lady who is hung with your shoes like a Christmas tree, I see, is already waving money. I think she's ready to settle up. I'll hear you later. And I pressed the red button. Earlier in the week. Wednesday morning. Stop saying it. I've been to all our previous garage sales, if you remember. I replied calmly. You may have been there, Chad, but I was always the one who planned everything. Now I'm just trying to make sure that everything goes smoothly without me. My wife, Diana, was organizing the upcoming public garage sale. The HOA, which we belong to, limits us to such events twice a year, in spring and at the end of summer. We participate in them, but rather in order to plunge into the life of the neighborhood community, rather than to earn money. Although, of course, it's nice from time to time, so to speak, to clear out the domestic Augean stables and get rid of things that no longer matter in our lives. Diana won't be around this time. She's going to Cleveland to, she hopes, complete some kind of merger. It seems that this is her 4th trip there in the last 3 months. She is not a lawyer, but she works in the legal department of her corporation. I continued, waving the sheets of paper in my hand. There must be 6 whole pages of your instructions here. Come on, they'll help me anyway. My parents and Beth have already said they will be here. I think Mom is only doing this to spend more time with Beth. I was just writing down everything that came into my head. I'm just trying to make your life easier. Uh, Give me the list. I just remembered one more thing. Here, look, I'm writing down, get rid of these ugly clothes. Do you understand everything? She tapped the leaves in front of her with her pen. Whatever you say. I'm not some moody kid. No matter how hard we try, we won't get a lot of money for some things. And yes, some of them will still be stolen. This happens every time we hold events like this. Don't worry. I'll keep the most valuable things under glass. You're looking at your phone all the time, I stated, noticing that she was constantly distracted by it. What happened? Just checking Uber and LYFT fares, Diana replied somewhat hastily. They are constantly changing. You see, I just saved $10, she boasted, nevertheless not showing me the screen of her phone, but on the contrary, putting it in her pocket. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Can we hug before we leave? We could do more in 15 minutes if you want. I will send you to the homeland of the 1964 NFL champions, one with a beaming smile on your face. With this sentence, I tried to touch and caress Deanna, while she giggled and tried to slip away from me. Get off me, you pervert, she fought back, slapping my hands with her palms until she broke free, jumping aside and straightening her clothes. Have it your way. Have a good trip. As soon as the car arrived, Diana was out the door in a flash. For some reason, lately we've been looking more and more like work colleagues than a married couple. What does it say? You can see a lot just by watching? Deanna and I were at someone's graduation party. The stress of this merger began to take its toll on her, and she probably should have stopped drinking strong drinks a few glasses ago. Well, it looks like someone is already ready for action. Step on the gas, Chad. My thoroughly drunk wife grinned. I accelerated, and we soon arrived home, safe and sound. Once inside, we took off our clothes and rushed into the bedroom. There, Diana pushed me onto the bed, and as soon as I fell on my back. A little later, when Diana, showering me with alcoholic fumes, had already fallen asleep soundly on my chest, although she had not managed to get off me, I replayed the last 20 minutes in my head. And here's what I noticed out of the ordinary. She never initiated lovemaking first. So, what exactly happened tonight? At the party, she didn't leave my side all evening. So if I didn't wake up the insatiable predator in her, then who did? I assumed that something was rotten in Cleveland. So when her next trip there was announced, I alerted my somewhat expensive private investigator about her upcoming itinerary. Yes, during her next business trip to Cleveland, there were no obvious displays of affection in public. But my weasel boyfriend has installed motion-sensing cameras in every hallway of the 4-story hotel where Diana is staying. She really did a good job of distracting attention. Diana would leave her room, take the elevator down, and go to buy something in the hotel lobby. Then she returned to her floor, but went into another room. And it was only before dawn that she returned back to her room. Game, set, and match. Friday afternoon, Diana's parents appeared. Hank kept them talking on the sidewalk, so I went out to them myself. Chad, what are you doing selling all these things? Diana told us that there were only a few small tables with items for sale. Apparently, she's not very good at math, I replied calmly. She also said that you're not answering her calls. That's not true. I've already talked to her several times this morning. Well, she says you hang up on her and then ignore her repeated attempts to call back. Her mother interjected, displeased. Why don't you call her and tell her to tell David that he'd better be careful soon? I suggested to her. David? Who is David? Well, obviously, this is the bastard she makes love to during her so-called business trips. If you need proof, I have something for you. I knew I would need convincing evidence. What other evidence? Her father attacked me. Here's a picture, please. You can keep it because I still have plenty of them. As you can see, the image is dated this morning, namely 4:21 a.m. Please note that Diana leaves the room barefoot, with her blouse unbuttoned, and she carries a bra and shoes in her hands. And where is she sneaking from? Oh, this is David's room, where she spent the whole night. Look at what an exemplary wife. My voice dripped with sarcasm. Both parents were instantly speechless. Her father only opened his mouth and stuttered because words were difficult for him. But, you can't sell all her stuff. Finally, he formulated his thought. Hey, come on, I've got 6 pages of instructions here from Deanna on how to run a successful garage sale. I think I can handle this case. Then I noticed my mom waving at me from the yard, surrounded on all sides by shoppers with bucks in their hands. I'm sorry, I think I need to solve a problem that Katie seems to have. I'm leaving you, and if you want, you can call and talk to Diane. Oh, and don't forget to ask her about David. I shouted, moving away as they stared at the photo of their daughter. I arrived in time. Someone in the crowd was furiously haggling over the price of a headset that used to belong to Diana's grandmother. Of course, I would like all this to be taken away as soon as possible, but the antique furniture was made by Gustav Stickley one around 1910, so it cost a lot of money. In the end, we agreed on 1,000 for a bookcase, a table, and 2 side chairs. Judging by the fact that I checked the value of this antique on the internet the last time, they bought it for about a quarter of the real price. Excellent. I really wanted these things to go to someone because they meant so much to Diana. If someone else had bought her family jewels, it would have been just a great Friday. When I returned to Diana's parents, they had tears in their eyes and looked depressed. My phone rang again, but after a quick glance at the screen, I saw that it was only Diana. We had nothing to talk about. She's talking. She loves you, Chad. Can't you two think of something? Her mother pleaded. I've already thought of something, I said, pointing with my thumb behind me, at the human anthill, chattering and chaotically scurrying around our yard. We'll get rid of all unnecessary things, and I'm moving into my own apartment. And Diana, well, she can live here with David if she can handle the mortgage payments. Realizing the futility of persuasion, they drooped and shuffled away, wiping away flowing tears. I still felt sorry for them, because we always got along with them. Diana called again, and this time I answered. I'm really sorry. Please stop this damn sale, she whimpered. Oh, and I'm so sorry that you don't see how a bunch of strangers attacked what we put in front of the house. Wow, they're stealing things left over from our past lives, cleaner than a horde of cockroaches. Oh my God. There was a sob on the other end of the line. Well, you ordered me to get rid of all the disgusting things, and everything you were makes you look like a disgusting, insidious fool, so I suggested that your things move. By the way, how is David doing? Diana couldn't think of anything to say right away, so I just hung up. Again. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when there was still an hour left before the end of the sale, all the furniture and jewelry were gone. Just like most of the shoes. Obviously, the Brooks and Hoka brands are very popular with fans of garage sales. We still had a lot to sell, but most of the lawn in front of the house had already been cleared of the items on display. And I was walking around with 5,000 in my pocket, which made me a little nervous and didn't feel too safe. I wasn't surprised when I read another message from Deanna begging me to stop wasting her stuff. I wrote back that her jewelry had been mislaid from particularly valuable items. Someone must have bought them and is already sporting her rings, earrings, and chains. A cry of anguish came at this. You bastard! It was already 3 in the afternoon, but Beth and Katie were still briskly selling goods. So it took another hour and a half before the traffic jams in our yard finally cleared. We weren't going to continue selling on Saturday, so we just put the remaining items back in the boxes and pushed them into the garage. Deanna's plane wasn't due to leave Cleveland until after dinner, and she called several times from the airport. Lounging on a chaise lawn with a bottle of beer in my hand, I answered one of her calls. Hey, how was the trip? I'm sorry, said a quiet voice on the phone. I can imagine how sorry you are. But it doesn't change my plans. What plans? I moved out. I rented an apartment near my work. But how can we fix this if you've moved? Attention, we have urgent news, I exclaimed in the voice of a TV reporter. We will not settle anything. You cheated. You've been caught. The game is over. Maybe you'll have better luck next time. Or maybe not. I could have said that I could hear Diana choking with spasms and sobs, but somehow I lost the desire to worry about her condition. I'm sorry, Chad, she finally said. Will you still be there when I get home? Of course not. Moreover, I'm not going to ever cross the threshold of this house. By the way, Katie took your half of the proceeds from the garage sale. She's looking forward to your call, and I think she has some choice words in store that she's going to say to your face. I never thought that Mom knew such expressions before. Oh my God, I really fucked up with my life. I'm not going to dispute this brilliant but somewhat belated conclusion. Apparently, what we had meant so little to you that you so easily decided to throw it in the trash. If it's any consolation, it's not just your life that's ruined, I continued. You know, I shared a copy of the photo that I gave to your parents with your David's wife. If I were you, I'd run without looking back if you saw her heading your way. She whimpered for about a minute. Hearing and feeling how she suffered was a little comforting to my so-called fragile male ego. Petty, I know, but still. My heart was torn apart when my investigators received the first folder with incriminating photos of Diana. She was so arrogant and confident that I didn't know anything and wouldn't find out, that it only took me 2 days to get what I needed and complete the information gathering, which cost me quite a lot. Diana was the first to break the long silence. Divorce? What is it? She asked in a colorless voice. Yes, of course. What did you expect? I didn't think it through. It all hit me when I was on the road. Well then, I'm sorry for overreacting. I deserve it. What will happen to the house now? You can buy back my half, or we can sell it. In such cases, this usually happens. All my good memories are there now, so I'm glad I got out of there. Can we still be friends? Diana asked with timid hope in her voice. I don't think so. Maybe in 50 years, somewhere in a nursing home, I answered her with a chuckle. I'm sorry, the quiet voice on the phone said again. Yes, you've already said that. My plane is landing. You're not going to pick me up this time, are you? Apparently, just in case, she clarified. Well, no way. I hope your luggage won't get lost. I wouldn't want you to lose all those special things that you wore especially for David. I couldn't resist a little injection at the end. I love you, were her last words. Whatever you say, I said, and ended the conversation. By the following Tuesday, the divorce papers had been served, of course, at Diana's office. At the same time, David received papers equivalent to a claim for alienation of affection. Maybe I wasted my money on it, but in the end it had the desired effect. All the trumps I had in my hands were photos of them both entering his room at night and only coming out the next morning. There was no way to prove that they were making love there, but at least they were both excluded from the fusion team. And I think their chances of moving up the corporate ladder in this company were close to zero. Despite the fact that I had Diana's written instructions on how to conduct a garage sale, my lawyer warned me that the judge might look at it in his own way. Let's see, there is always a chance. And even if I have to compensate for the damage done to her, those precious and beloved originals of things that she treasured so much are now gone, along with all the dear and pleasant memories that were associated with them. As it turned out later, the judge demanded compensation from me only for those things for which Diana could prove that they belonged exclusively to her. And alas, no paper receipts have been preserved, so I'm sorry. In the end, the whole thing didn't cost me that much, except for the heartache. Don't believe those who tell you otherwise, but I will try to overcome it. Yes, I have a lot of weight on my shoulders and serious trust issues. However, life has dealt many other good people even worse cards than mine, so I can handle it.